Hey guys, my name is Lad, and today we're going to be doing art. And I'm going to be starting a new series called the Wheel of OCs. Now, the purpose of this series is for me, first of all, to be able to have some random things to draw, because I can't decide on my own. And the second is I would like to share the stories that these original characters come from as well, because that's a lot of what I do on this channel is to share stuff that I create. So I hope you enjoy. Okay, so we have the wheel back. And I inputted all 47 of my original stories into it through here, which just makes everything so easy. And we're just gonna see which one I have to draw today. Takes so long. Come on. I feel like I need to make an entire different wheel for all the characters in here. Okay, let's do that then. Okay, so I put in all of the characters, and I even decided to put both of Ven's different personas, Ven and Skylar. I mean, they're the same person, but they look different. It'd be different. And let's see who we get. Okay, this is I actually never drawn Penny before, and there's been a lot of controversy for me on what she should look like, because she actually used to be like a total jerk. So now I get to design her. Ooh. Okay, so I know I said that I've never drawn Penny, but I have. This is a picture of a sketch. Well, not really a sketch, but a drawing on paper that I did of her when I first got back into drawing. That's why it looks so bad. I meant how I'd never drawn a digital drawing of Penny. So in the picture that I drew of her, she was in her like school uniform and everything. But today I just decided to draw her singing in this little like pose. And I tried to design her own outfit with these little puffy sleeves that show her shoulders and a pleated skirt kind of thing. I actually was so proud of how the hand that was to the side ended up. And as you can see, I tried sketching wings. I actually did not keep the wings in the final product because they were just too hard. I'll put up a picture of Ven and her wings and how I did those, but they're really hard to do. So a little bit about Penny. Penny Cross is her full name, and originally when I first made the story, she was gonna be kind of like the mean girl, mean girl, and she was gonna be super sour towards Ven or Vendera, who's the main character. So that was the original idea, but I decided that, hey, this kind of sounds too much like Afmau's My Street, her Fingerstrap High series, which was the inspiration for this story. So I did a lot of recasting of characters, a lot of personality changes. So I leaned more into her Suba side. So Suba is a half bird person. It comes from the Japanese word. I just made it up off of the Japanese word for bird or winged. Can't remember. But Penny I leaned into that side because she's a parrot. She's part of a parrot. So I leaned into the side to where she's overly loud, and that's because she actually has a hearing problem. So she's just super loud and super rambunctious. Another character that has been based off of my little sister. Anyway, so that's kind of like her role. She's more of like a loud person that Ven would hang out with at times, but she is like a side character. She does make a cameo in the third wave of the story, but she usually just hangs around for the first part of the story, which is the high school year. Anyway, so with her hair, it's supposed to resemble the hair of a parrot. So I added she's originally red hair, and then she has the yellow ombre and the blue ombre, which I just use I used the gradient tool, and then I blended it a little bit with the circular blender brush. I can't remember the name for it. Anyway, so there's not a lot about this sketch. It's just the usual coloring. Her hair was kind of difficult because of the gradient and the angles. The feathers that are for her ears, I had to make an entirely different layer so that it would look normal and it wouldn't merge with the other layer and the other gradients. Anyway, for her skin is a lot pinker. So when shading, I used a darker, more brownish red, like a burgundy. Now for shading, I always either use black, blue, or red. Say if I'm shading skin tone, I'll use red. If I'm shading, if I'm shading white colors, I'll use blue, mainly for the eyes. But for stuff like irises, I'll color the shading will be black, and then the clothing will usually be black. How I do backgrounds, I plan on doing a tutorial on how I paint sunsets or night skies or backgrounds like this. And what I basically, just long story short, I blotch a bunch of colors. I get one of the blending brushes that looks like a paintbrush and blend as much as I can. And then I get the smooth blender and blend over it again to give it a more full look, but it still looks kind of painty. And that's what I always do. So I mentioned before, this is my first time coloring Penny. So I decided to give her her own little outfit. I gave her socks. I tried to lean more into her singing side because she's a loud parrot. So I added some sakura tree leaves falling down, which my go-to tree is a sakura tree because I just love making the pink. This was the first time that I added little leaves, and the shading on herself that has the lighter leaf that I used a leaf brush for was actually the first time I did it, and I loved how it turned out. Overall, this picture, I love how it turned out. I love the pastels for the background. It looks like she's singing outside. I really enjoyed drawing her. So now it's time to draw another person from fantasy. Let's see who we get. Okie dokie, here we have our wheel back. I'm just going to do fantasy again because I don't feel like drawing someone from a different story. So let's just see who we get. The only person that I don't want to draw is Stella, mainly because she's not... Oh my gosh. I thought I jinxed myself. Okay, so we're drawing Bethany. Awesome. Okay, so we're drawing Bethany. Bethany, her full name is Bethany Carol Short. She is related to one of the other characters who play a bit of a part in Ven's story. So I know how I said I didn't want to draw Stella. So Stella is... I kind of don't know what to do with her. I feel like I need to toss her out or keep her. She's not really someone I'm too happy with, proud of, and I don't want to give her a character design. So I thought I jinxed myself. Anyway, Bethany is a mayflower, which is a cat person. And this is what her description is. So she is the cousin of Tessa and a blondie with an even happier attitude than her cousin. She has bright emerald eyes and has attracted Carson. Now, Carson is a character that I would love to explain in a different video. But he is a lot more important than Bethany. And too shy to tell her how he feels. He just watches her from afar, you know, until they get into college. So that's where I kind of put her in this scene. Is like, this is probably like a scene where he walks up and talks to her, and she's like turning around, she's like, oh, who is this? And kind of clutching her tail. So Bethany actually doesn't play a big part until the third phase. I mean, she exists. She kind of disappears for the second phase of the story when they're all at war. Something I will go on in a different video. This video definitely needs a lot of context, so I'm just gonna narrate the drawing process. So one thing me after is realizing is that her arm is way too long. When you see it bend down, if her arm was completely bent down, then it would go past her knees, and that, even for my style, isn't correct. So that's the only thing that's just a pet peeve in this picture. Other than that, this was my first time designing her, so I had the characteristics. Oh, she has green eyes, and she has blonde hair, and I tried to make the hair an actual blonde, like a real blondie, instead of, you know, instead of making it just yellow. With her ears, though, it took me a while to figure out how I was going to do it, because I'm used to drawing werewolf ears. I'm used to drawing like dog ears, and so I didn't know, should I make them more pointy or anything? But I feel like they looked fine. The tail was really difficult, though. In terms of shading, I do my usual thing. With her eye, I do add an iris. I usually don't add irises, but for certain characters, I do. More on fantasy and Bethany's part she plays. So yes, she does end up starting to date Carson, and Carson is the older brother of a friend of Ven, who is the main character. She doesn't have a story, really. Right now, so in terms of the story, she lives with her cousin. She lives with Tessa. That's her name, Tess. She lives with Tessa, but Tessa disappears from the story. Like, she literally disappears, and she's not mentioned again in terms of phase 3 and phase 2. She's kind of just there for the first phase. And when I mean by phases, I mean like certain parts of the story. Like phase 1 is high school, you know. Phase 1 has 2 parts. There's freshman year, and there's sophomore year. I mean, that's also kind of like Mouse, but I mean, I didn't want to add too much because one of the main characters leaves after sophomore year. So, yeah. Anyway, I had really fun drawing this. I'd love to give more information on fantasy. It's one of the first stories that I created, and I really love it. I really love the characters and what they've become over the years. I really hope you guys loved watching me draw this and ramble, and I will see you all later. See ya!